All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of the Senpai Kouhai No Other Kind of Pie podcast. This is your Kouhai Trea the Don. I'm joined tonight by Steven the Senpai. What's going on, Steven? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing really good. I've got a lot of fun things to talk about tonight, and I'm excited to get into them. So, without further ado, what do you think? Are you gonna hit me with another one of your quizzes? Is that
I,
what's gonna
I got a
happen?
quiz for you. I got a
Oh,
little Quizlet.
damn!
I don't think you got the answers though. I made this one a little bit more difficult. I've actually got some things I'm gonna have to say in Japanese. So
What?
we're
Oh,
gonna
this is gonna be interesting.
yeah, I'm probably going to skewer it. It's going to be bad. So we're going to go ahead and get right into our quiz segment where I quiz Steven. This time we're doing catchphrases. Um, whose catchphrase is this, and what show do they belong to?
Didn't
Our
we do
first
this last week?
Was that our first time last week? Yeah, you're right. You're right. It
Y-
was. Yeah, that's right. We did Data Bio last week. You're right. So it's our
Yeah,
second week of doing catchphrases. The other time was attacks. That's what it was.
yeah.
So the first one is what a drag.
What is drag?
What a
What is this?
drag.
What is this? Clueless?
Mm,
As if.
I didn't see Clueless.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I was more of a mean guy's girl. I mean, mean girls guy. Take that as you will.
All right. You know, gosh, what is? I actually know this. I feel like I know this one.
I just gave you a hint for it too.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh no,
Saving versus Data Bio.
no way, no.
Oh yeah.
It, is it Sasuke?
Mm-mm.
Oh no, it's Shikamaru.
Yep.
Yeah,
Shikamaru.
because everything is exhausting to him. All he cares about is playing shogi and just trying not to do anything.
There was the one time where they attacked the hidden leaf village, and he faked like he was poisoned, and he just laid down or faked like he was asleep under the genjutsu, I think. And
Oh
he just
god, that's right.
he was so lazy. He was such a little shit in the first half.
Absolutely. And then he
All right.
got his abusive girlfriend, and then she whipped him into shape.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was a very unexpected turn for him to get
Absolutely.
a Tamari as his old girl. Next up, I will punish you in the name of the moon.
That's Sailor Moon, Usagi. Yeah.
Wrong.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you got it.
I was gonna say
It's,
you're lying to me, you little sack of crap.
next up, man, this is gonna be one of the hard ones.
Oh no,
Oh man, wow, I messed it up.
you already messed it up. But it's Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star.
It is.
I
You
know
got
the
it.
one when I like all you have to do is say the first word in the right
Yeah.
like tone, and it's pretty much. Yep, that's it.
I practiced it like 6 times before
Really?
we called. Yeah, I was like, I gotta get this right. I'm gonna do it. Omewa Shinderu or something. I messed it up. I messed it up.
I think that the best part is you probably practiced it a bunch and got pretty good at it, and now that like you have to do it, performance anxiety kicks in, and then you
Yep.
just like, bleh.
Yeah. God, embarrassing.
It's
Next
okay.
up. Oh yeah, so you got it. It is Kenshiro, Fist of the North Star. Next, yada yada das.
Oh God, no, I don't know this one. I know of it, and jeez,
It translates to good grief.
yeah, like I keep wanting to say like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I don't like the character's not coming to mind. Like, I'm just gonna start naming JoJo characters.
You could say JoJo, and that would be right.
Would it be right?
It is
Is
Jotaro.
it? I was gonna say, is it Jotaro, the one with the goofy hat? Like,
Yeah, it is
I
him.
love JoJo, and it's got some style on it, but I always had a problem with his goofy ass outfit in that arc. Like, I like Jonathan, and I like
Joseph.
Giorno. Joseph's great too.
Joseph's
Giorno
my
is
favorite so far.
really.
Oh yeah, he is. He's way too much of a maverick to not enjoy with his little spinning balls and just.
Oh yeah.
He's horrible. Just great.
Yeah, I like the thing is I watched JoJo a long time ago. I started like I got really into it with Battle Tendency and Phantom Blood, and I did like, and that's the thing is like it was still pretty early on when it was coming out when I first
Mhm.
got into it, So, and I started the third arc with Jotaro, and then I got really busy and I never came back to it. And then somebody, like, people have shown me random episodes, so that's why I know of like a Giorno. And just being on the internet, half of it's like, like Giorno's theme is thrown on so much shit on videos and stuff like that, and so it's pretty iconic. And so I really need to take the time, because the worst part about that is I own all of it on Blu-ray, and
I've seen the collection. It looks
I have
good.
no reason not to watch it. And it's foolish time management, and I will fix that and watch JoJo, and I'm pretty sure Daryl will freak out and be really happy about it, or
I
your brother.
I stopped midway through the third season, through Jotaro's season. I can't remember
Mhm.
what it's called. I don't think it's Stardust Crusaders. I always mix it up. All the
I'm pretty
different
sure
names.
it is Stardust Crusaders.
Oh, then okay. I thought it was going to be Diamond is Unbreakable. I always
I,
mix Diamond and Stardust Crusaders.
because I think it goes. I can't remember if it was Battle in Egypt first or Stardust Crusaders, which order it was. Like I said a long time ago, but I know Diamond is Unbreakable is before Golden Wind, and I'm pretty excited about.
Oh,
They
Stone
announced,
Ocean. Yeah.
they announced the next arc as being animated, so I'm pretty excited about that too. Apparently, it's one of the best ones. So I probably just need to do a big huge
I
JoJo
feel like they say
binge.
that about every JoJo season. Like
I
what
mean, in all fairness, it's pretty
it's it's pretty
enjoyable.
great. Yeah, it's pretty great. I can't shame them for it, but they're not wrong.
Like, the title is perfect, the music is great, the characters are a hoot, like, it's action is really well done, and the world is really cool, and they keep doing wild things. And yeah, no, I really need to shit and get off the pot. No, yeah, I think that's the phrase. I don't know.
So next up, our final one is There's Only One Truth.
Oh, that's Conan Edogawa from Detective Conan.
Oh, okay, yes, Detective Conan. I didn't
Yeah,
get his last name, so
I love Detective Conan. Do you care if I tell a story about this?
no, go ahead. I mean, we're here
Okay.
to talk. So if you weren't talking, we wouldn't be here.
Okay, absolutely. This kind of ties into a future topic, but I went to an anime convention here in Dallas, as a matter of fact, Acon. I can't remember which year, but they had Anime Jeopardy as one of their events, and so I was there with a big group of friends of mine and things like that. So they encouraged me to take the preliminary, like, little quiz they have, and there was two versions. There was the easy version, and then there was the hard version. And I was like, all right, let's go for this easy one. Like, because I bet it is hard, like, so the easy version should be like the stuff I can get, and the hard one's going to be for like the extreme people here.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah. So I filled out the little prerequisite quiz, and it was really easy. It was like Bleach, Dragon Ball, Naruto questions, nothing too crazy. And so we went to the first event, which was the easy version. I was like, all right, let's do this. And I was like, wait, how does this work? Because they had a table and there's like 3 chairs. And it's like, it turns out it was just like they randomly selected people. I think they rolled a dice or something like that. And so we were there, and you're like just kind of crossing your fingers. You're like, all right, well, this will at least be fun to watch if I don't get chosen. So, and I didn't get chosen for the easy one. And I was, kind of like, oh, it's kind of a bummer, but hey, let's do this. And they let the crowd like try to answer in place of the people and stuff like that. Like, it's like, people just yelling stuff out. It's a really actually enjoyable experience. And the people emceeing it were really, really good at handling the whole situation. So it went down without any trouble, which is great, because there's always a troll in the crowd if you're not too careful.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, so me and my friends watched that one, and then we all kind of split up to go shopping, because that's really what you do at an anime convention, or at least what I do. I was really, really starting to get into figures, so I was like carrying like 6 figures around with me, and I was like, I gotta take this back to the hotel room. But I went back out to the floor, and I hadn't really met up with anybody. We had texted to like meet up at the Anime Jeopardy thing. So I went over there, and I was by myself, except for my friend Brandon was there with me, and it was the hard one. And so they started rolling dice and calling out names, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm really tired, and I got all this other stuff I want to do. So they hadn't called the last name, but I was literally on my way out the door, and then they called my name, and so I was like, okay, cool. And my friend, Brandon's like, yeah, let's fucking do this. And all my other friends kind of showed up and sat up in like the 3rd row or whatever. And I'm sitting at this table, and they start asking questions. Like, I don't know if I was just really into whatever was going on, like that season or the case, but they started asking questions, and I was nailing them. Like, I was just killing the competition, like naming voice actors, naming studios of animation, directors of movies. Just I think they had like some kind of like random question about like a no name slice of life show that season, and I nailed that one too. And of course, so I was doing really good. I felt really good about myself. I was like, yeah, I'm killing this. I got it. And then we got to the anime name that tune moment, and I was doing really well on that one too. And the last one was for the most points of that category, and they played one note, and this girl straight up damn near broke the table, like buzzing in, and she was like, "Oran High Host Club," like she knew immediately that that song by note one, and I was like, "All right, I'll give it up. That's cool." But we ended up getting to Final Jeopardy, and I ended up winning. Like there's a lot of it was really fun. Like my friends were like losing their mind in the third row, and the prize was the 5 seasons of Case Closed that they released here in America.
That's
And
pretty cool.
yeah, I got like a Raw Zephin t-shirt, and I think I got a couple other like swag things. There's like a bag and stuff like that. But the real value was the Case Closed. And I hate to admit this, I think I missed most of the last day of that con because I had never seen it. And I was like, all right, well, I got 5 seasons now. Let's check this bad boy out. I think I finished
You
season
started
2.
watching it?
Yes, at the con. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I binged it, and I watched the first 2 seasons in like a 20-hour period. I think something crazy. It was just
What
all
on earth?
Conan all the time. And it's while I hate the renaming of characters in the English dub and stuff like that, it's actually a really solid detective show. A lot of like a closed room murder mysteries and stuff like that. I think in the first episode he solves a mystery where somebody gets decapitated on a roller coaster, and it's like this like really kind of like wild setup to do it. And the more and more I watched Case Closed, I used to download all the episodes because I don't know if you know this, like there's like I think 900 something episodes or something like that now, and there's like 16 movies and like TV specials and stuff like that. Like one of my favorite movies, I think it was one of the movies, is where like the older detective guy, he find out why he and his wife aren't together anymore. Anyways, I'm getting way off on a tangent, but I love Case Closed. Please bring the rest of Case Closed to America. I will watch all 1,000 episodes, all of it.
Wow.
I just broke the Kouhai.
Why is there so much Case Closed?
Mysteries never get old.
I don't know.
And
There's only so many times you can use the formula. That's why Scooby Doo is redone so much.
No way, man. It's absolutely just constantly good mysteries, and they dribble in enough of the actual overarching story, like every like 80 episodes, enough to kind of like pull you right back in. So,
Okay, if you say. I don't know if I could get with that.
all right, so I handled that pretty well. I didn't need as many hints this time around, so that makes me feel good.
I don't know. I feel like I had to hint you pretty hard, but you did get them all.
The
You
drag
did.
one, yeah. See, Naruto for me is like I read the manga primarily. Like I when Shippuden started hitting like episode 300 and stuff like that, I was like, I'm just gonna read the manga.
Yeah.
Because like did it end up at like 600 episodes?
I think so. 600 or 700 episodes.
Jesus,
I think so.
like I was nuts. I can't imagine that. But anyways, I feel like I did a pretty good job. So.
I'm proud of you. You get a stamp.
Oh man, I'm gonna put that on the calendar.
Kouhai validation.
Yes.
It's worth nothing. But what is worth something is whatever you may be watching. Steven, what are you watching?
Oh, I'm about to disappoint you. I'm only watching a couple things right now, and it's basically because I'm just keeping up with it. Like I'm watching the detective is already dead.
That's still going on?
Yeah, it started this season, so it's only 5 episodes in.
Oh, I feel like we've talked about it like 6 times already.
I've talked about it on two occasions on this podcast.
We're already on like season 12 of the podcast. There's no way it's gone on this long. No way.
I'm pretty sure you don't know how time works.
I'm actually very bad at counting time. I can't grasp how to do it. I getting from one point to another is pretty bad for my measurements, but I'll be somewhere at the right time. But if you ask me how many hours have passed or how many years, months, and days, I have a hard time giving an accurate number because of how I count the day of and the day before. And me and my
Really?
wife have tried to figure this out because she'll give me a number. I'm like, well, no, we've been here like 6 days when we've only been here like 3 or 4. I'm like, no, this is totally, and it's really
What?
weird. I don't
What?
know. I don't know how I do
How do
it.
you get 6 from 3? Like I actually like I'm gonna later on I'm gonna have you get a whiteboard out and like map this for me
I
because
mean,
that's
it's not that's an extreme case, but like
like I
I
mean
just have a hard time counting.
is this kind of
Like
like one of those things like some people think the week starts on Sunday and some people think the week starts on Monday?
kind of, but like I think time starts at 0000, and then it just goes from there. And so
Oh my
if you ask me
gosh.
how many hours have passed, I'm like, well, let's see, we're at, at 1 o'clock and it's 2 o'clock. I mean, it's been 1 hour, but I wish I had a better example. And like
I
if we're at 3 o'clock, I'm like, well, okay, it could have been 2 hours, but it's really only been 1 hour. In some cases, depending on how I got there and when I got there, it's time traveling is
I
really what I'm doing.
you must struggle with time travel movies.
No, no, I can keep up with as long as they aren't showing time and numbers, I'm okay
Mhm.
without it. But
So it's the numbers that throw you off.
I
Like
think
actually
maybe the numbers are really what messed me up. But like as long as I can keep a timeline, like action wise, like oh, okay, they flush the toilet, they wipe their butt. I'm keeping track of what's going on here.
is that the reverse order?
What?
You said they flush the toilet and then wipe their butt.
You
Like
don't
that's the reverse order of how you handle that.
you don't flush it. So what are you watching again? The detective is already dead.
So the detective is already dead is a series that I'm really not sold on yet. The detective work is it's not as complex as like say something as a Detective Conan. It's some of it is a little easy to see or like really kind of not as impressive.
Mhm.
Um, there's this mysterious organization they're fighting that really there's not a lot of information about. Um, and and he's sarcastic and it, like and just which is a lot of fun. He's really to me he's a lot of fun because he's sarcastic and doesn't take anything seriously, but he clearly seems to be pretty capable. And then like just in the most recent episode, they introduced like some more supernatural stuff and the thing is like there's so much being added in each time I watch an episode and they're drip feeding information. Like for instance, like they have an episode with the main detective girl that he met in the first place, and which is the start of the series, and then you find out that apparently she's dead. And so they do a storyline with the current timeline, and then the most recent episode was a storyline from before with the original detective girl again. So it's kind of a lot of jumping back and forth, and it's like introducing new characters constantly, and then a character gets killed off, and then but the mystery is like going on. It's really all over the place, and I'm actually well past the point where I usually drop things, but I'm kind of hoping it's kind of one of those like memento sort of things where all the details kind of come together, and I'm just hoping it doesn't disappoint me. So that is one of the big things that I'm watching. The other one is one I'm going to talk about that I talk about every week, and I continue to extol the virtues of what is essentially the most like sleeper unknown fantastic shonen show ever, and that is Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun.
God damn it. God damn it.
I need you to understand that this is my new Naruto. This show is fantastic, and it's the same formula. There's some demon world stuff going on, kind of like the ninja world stuff going on. There's your kind of unwanted kind of hapless hero that happens to actually accidentally just be good at stuff and starts to like sheer willpower gets him through. And then the cast expands. They all have their own things, kind of like Naruto, but it mixes in a lot more comedy, if I had to say anything. But it's really good. Like I'm loving the story arc they're in right now. They're at an amusement park and it got attacked by magical beasts by an evil organization of demons that are trying to go back to the original form, and so they're kind of fighting that off without getting into it. And there's some great moments in that episode. and it shows off a lot of what all the characters can do, and it's just every time one of the arcs comes along, it's well paced. The characters are fun, funny, but also like really badass at the same time, and it really does a great balance of comedy, action, overall storyline, and it kind of expanding the world every time a new season or a new arc comes about. And see, I've read ahead in the manga, of course, because I just couldn't get enough. And I'm pretty excited because it looks like it's going to be a full core for season 2, all the way up to another like episode 25. So I think they're going to make it through the Harvest Festival arc, which the Harvest Festival is my favorite part of the manga so far. And I'm really excited for that. I'm also going to make you watch it at some point.
Man, I can't wait for them to be done with Demon School or Rumakun.
It's actually like becoming pretty popular. It's in the like top choices like slot for Crunchyroll a lot. So
I'll believe it. It sounds like it has a lot of good perks about it and all that. So I think I've seen the slots you talk about. They normally post them like, "Hey, this is what was watched this week," and it's always quite an interesting
mixed bag, huh?
Anime that's watched. I always like trying to see if I could predict it. Is that all you're watching? Is just those two? Keeping up with them?
So that one was, those two were the only two I had time to keep up with this week. I've I finished one. Yeah, I finished a show. I wrapped up
we're gonna get there. What you got?
Yeah, like my brain just dropped out. I wrapped up Tyler.
Oh, okay.
Irresponsible Captain Tyler, and I have lots to say about that, and I think I'll save it for another time. Might even make a little feature about it, because it's just 26 episodes television show and 12 episode OVA. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of like things that made me feel things about that series, and I really just don't want to give it like a half-assed kind of review, because it deserves more than that. So I think I'd actually like to write some detailed stuff for maybe like a future episode, and kind of extol the virtues of irresponsible space Captain Tyler. So.
We can post it to my OnlyFans if you'd like.
Okay. It's going to go great with all that porn.
It's not porn, it's art.
It's art. Oh, okay. That explains all the pain.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. So
that could have gone so much worse. That joke really was already tasteless and probably not a good one, but it could have gone a million times worse.
No, it's always just throwing shit at a wall and see what sticks.
Jackson Pollock. What are you watching?
Me and my wife, we normally watch an anime together, and now that we finished Fruits Basket, we've kind of been taking a break, but she's been talking to me about watching Yona of the Dawn, and
oh yeah,
because it just sounds so drama filled and like a nice romance to have. So not a nice romance, it's about this princess or this girl who falls in love with a boy, and right before they can get married or engaged, she sees that he is killing her father, and that's from the synopsis on Funimation. And I was like, ooh, and she was like, ooh, and so that's what we're watching now, or what we're going to be watching.
So is this like an isekai? Is that what this is?
Oh god, it better not be. It better not be.
So I know it's not an isekai. It's actually kind of like it's kind of like it's a kind of a warrior girl kind of thing going on.
That's what it looks like.
It has mad Fushigi Yugi vibes. Like I don't know if you ever saw that show, know anything about it.
No.
It's a show and a manga by Yu Watase, who's known for several series, and she wrote this series. It's about these girls. Like that's what's funny is Fushigi Yugi is essentially an isekai. These two schoolgirls get sent off to some other world, and one of them ends up becoming the priestess that has to go do something. Her name is Miyaka. She's kind of annoying in the show, but that was kind of a trope in the 90s. But she has all these beautiful guys, warriors that tag, like she meets and tags along with her. It's very
nice little reverse harem.
Yeah, absolutely. And but like whenever I've seen anything for Yona, it does have kind of that same vibe, because like whenever she goes to the other world, like the fashion is more like old Chinese or Japanese in style. Like it seems more,
Otherworld.
yeah.
Is
Not
this an
no,
isekai?
sorry, no, not Yona, Fushigi Yugi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Fushigi Yugi, she really does go to another world, and so and that's really cool. And the whole idea in the end is to get back to a degree,
Hmm.
and I think that's kind of what makes it like not what people consider an isekai these days, is because a lot of isekai is all about like getting used to the world, and like sometimes people forget that they're from another world entirely and just live in the new world. Whereas
Right.
like stuff like back then, they were pretty focused on getting back home to Japan, and so that but Fushigi Yugi kind of has that same style as Yona, and I'm curious to see what you think of more of it and what details you can tell me, or maybe I'll just jump in there and start watching it or something.
Okay. We should be starting that here soon. We kind of just made the decision tonight because we looked through my list of animes, and after getting through all the ones she definitely wouldn't be watching, we we finally
Is
got
it
to
is it those cultured shows?
very cultured volleyball ones, and it's like, oh no, not those,
That's
not those.
amazing. I love the fact that you and your wife watch anime together.
It's fun. She came in watching or not watching. She grew up reading Fruits Basket, and I think she watched another show. They watched Sailor Moon as kids, and so she's no newbie to anime. She enjoys it. She knows what it's about and what to expect.
It is always refreshing to have a partner that uh, is either interested or at least it understands it enough to not really be an issue.
Yeah,
I had dated people in the past that were like, "Why do you like this weird cartoons?" And I was like, okay, this is weird and awkward, but
yeah.
I don't have
No,
that problem
it's
anymore."
that's good because I know I would be in trouble if I didn't have my wife because I'm watching Food
Absolutely.
Wars and someone just walks in and I'm not gonna be able to explain myself. You're either gonna have to sit here and watch that or you're gonna have to leave. It's
The
I've got
amount
to
of
see
people
how
that
they
get
finish cooking.
naked, the people
It,
that get naked whenever they eat something is always hilarious to
that's
me.
how I'm doing it. That's how I'm like every time. But apart from Yona of the Dawn, I just and this will actually bring us into probably a debate, but I just finished K-On! The musical girl anime about
Oh man.
girl these high school girls, and as you said it last time, cute girls doing cute things, and I couldn't agree more. However, I did binge it and I finished it, and I was talking to my brother about it, and I realized nothing was really happening in the show, and I, I part of me has a problem with that. I like progress. I like things that go places. And so a show that is stagnant or things that are stagnant, I have I have problems returning to. So I had to force myself through the last couple episodes because it wasn't going anywhere. And I realized it. And I was like, "Oh, we're not going for anything here. There's nothing. There's no way I'm not failing high school or anything. Or there's the big battle of the bands to go for," and it hurt me. And I was like, I could be watching Dragon Quest or something because they showed some really cool clips of Dai doing a Zapple. And I was like, God, that's fucking sick. But instead, I was watching K-On! And it was nice. I really liked it. All the girls were really fun to get to know and see doing their things. Seeing the two beach episodes, seeing the school festival episode, a lot of tropes in the show. And I was just until they brought in the new girl. I was just sitting there watching it, mindless, eating my cereal because I watch anime normally in the morning before I go to work. And I was like, I can't even tell you what's going on here. I that what is the show? What are we doing? And I started telling my brother this because he's a big fan of the shows. And I was like, these are kind of like life and farming sims
Oh my
where
god.
they kind of just exist and you kind of witness them. And this was a grave offense, apparently. And I've been banned from my own Discord.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. That the Discord gave you a freaking trial immediately. Everybody got out of idle mode and came onto the Discord to point out how terrible of a take that is.
Man, but
The hottest take.
I just don't understand how it's not comparable, I guess. So
It's
I mean, I do get it. I do understand it. It's a little bit of a stretch to really call him that. I'm saying it for dramatic effect more than anything else. But like, I don't know. I'm trying to think the last thing I watched where nothing happened, and I think it was Zombieland Saga, which I really enjoyed because it was just more musical girl stuff. But they never explained anything. Well, I haven't got to season 2 yet, and I enjoyed it. It was really funny throughout, a little bit more humorous than K-On!, a little bit more music focused, but it wasn't as friendly and wholesome as K-On! Is. And I realized at the end, or me and my wife, we were watching it together, and we realized in the last couple episodes, we're not going anywhere with this. This is just a show about girls in a band and friendship.
What? You didn't watch season 2?
Not, I'm waiting on the dub because the guy that's the manager, Rico Fajardo, I can't remember how to say his last name, but that guy is the star of the show, and he is so funny. The way he degrades the girls, it is so funny. You think I'm? I can't even imitate him. I can't. But
Oh,
it's so
I was
funny.
talking about season 2 of K-On!
Oh, I'm not. I'm not going to for a while. I can't. I cannot. It's my brother told me it was 26 episodes. I barely made it through the 13 in season 1.
I mean, so I kind of see where you're going with that, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of just tracking off into your hot take here and commentary on it, but I mean, I think you're wrong on comparing it to farming simulators because most of them that you're going to be comparing them to, like how do I describe this? K-On! Is breezy and fun because you're sharing something with those characters. And they do grow. They're just not doing or growing the way you want them to. And that's the thing. It's like it's not like it's not for you because you're supposed to be enjoying those little moments, like when they're trying to learn their instruments, they're trying to get an advisor. Like, can we actually play a show at the festival? And just them learning along the way, and kind of like the weird little fun jokes they get into, the hijinks, and there's a phrase for that kind of show. I think it's like fua fua. It's like it's very fluffy, I guess.
There's a category. Oh my gosh. Is it farming sim? Is it? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But
No, you're wrong.
but
Look,
that's
as I'm getting upset now because you're insulting my farming games. All right. And by the way, I play Rune Factory, mofo.
but I feel like Rune Factory had a lot more development than K-On! Did.
It still had farming, you motherfucker.
But with a purpose. With a purpose.
No, it's look, and those games are hard work. You have to plan things, you have to time things, you have to invest in the right stuff. There's stuff to it. You just aren't good at that.
I see. I discredited the farming games, not the anime.
And look, okay, so there is a yes, absolutely. That's one of my saltiest positions on this one. Like that, like I don't. I think you don't get what is great about that genre, so that's why you can easily compare it to something that you also don't understand in the anime world.
I can put it all in the toilet and just dump on it.
Look, I can admit that K-On! Is not the most interactive or like super interesting version, and it's also one of the earliest ones. I mean, it's from the era of like Moe blobs. Like, this was a whole era where there's a lot of like cute, kind of like almost like puffy girl designs. Like, it was all about like the Moe like cute feeling that girls gave off. So you would commonly see that. I mean,
I'd believe that.
there's a lot of series in that genre. Like, one of my favorites is Lucky Star, and it's kind of this wacky, like almost otaku kind of like centered series that does the same thing. That's like these 4 girls and eventually more girls that they know from this school, just having little vignettes of like jokes and kind of like interactions. Some of them are really dumb. I think they do like a solid like 5-minute scene on like how to eat a chocolate coronet that I was like, it's very non sequitur, but and I was like, that's a dumb one. But they have other scenes where like they have a character that has like hair drills and like she takes it off like it's something, and it's just like a really funny moment. I think my favorite is like there's a kind of an idle cutesy character that does like a closing show with one of the other characters, and the joke is that she's supposed to be super cutesy, but they keep capturing her on camera when she thinks she's not, and she's like this chain smoking, just bitter, like, and she looks like a little like a girl, a little moe girl, but she's like bitter and chain smokes and just like talk like constantly abuses the other guy on the show, and it's
Is this
hilarious. That's
Lucky
actually
Star?
yeah, and that's the thing is like some of it's pretty otaku centric. I think they have a lot of jokes about Comic Het and like when they go to Comic Het, and there's different characters that have different tropes associated with them, and they have fun with it. But I'd honestly say the little like ending scene with the characters I just mentioned is actually the funniest. But it was also the same thing. Like all the girls were like kind of like chibi characters, very rounded faces. They were cute and
Mm-hmm.
they were moe. Um, and so K-On was definitely like peak moe blob. Like I think when K-On had its heyday, like I think after that it was kind of downhill. I think a lot of studios tried to emulate it and the success of it, and just really didn't pull it off. I think the only company that really ever pulled off a lot of the real genuine success of that genre was Kyoto Animation, because they animated Lucky Star, they animated K-On, they animated Sound Euphonium, which was another show about girls and musical instruments. Yeah, there's more than one, buddy. But these shows were about
Disapproving
relaxing.
this.
They were
Disapproving this.
no, they were about relaxing and growing with the character, and like they weren't something that there was progress. It just wasn't the kind of speed and action that you were looking for. Like you're talking about freaking Dragon Quest. Was it the Adventures of Dai
Mm-hmm.
or Dai's Adventure or something like that? It's a warrior show. Like the anime is based on an epic RPG. Of
Yeah,
course, the things that are happening, the paces that are going to happen, is different. You just
but
have
that's
terrible taste.
that could be right. That could be right. But that's just how I look at a lot of things too.
Oh no, I
Is
get
if I can't see progress, or if I can't look at progress being made, then I'm not really enjoying too much of it. Like, what was it? Not a Kame ga Kill, but I think there was
it.
another anime like it where it had a slow moving plot. And there was a lot going on. But when you took a step back, there was it was just a lot of noise, and there wasn't a lot moving. And so it was I had to stop that one. I mean, it was right up my alley. It was like action fighting, real sci-fi waifu stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, nah, this ain't it. There's not. I can't just sit here and not have this go nowhere. I need
See,
a I need a
yeah,
goal.
yeah, and I all jokes aside, I absolutely understand that. I mean, one of the things that, for me, like I had to really break about myself was when I was younger, there wasn't a lot of anime available. So when you got it, you liked everything. Like there was no bad anime because there was only so much to enjoy,
Hmm.
and at least that was the way it was in my head back then. But as I got older and more shows came out, more types of genres and stuff like that, uh, I just had to become more choosy. And I'd say that I had to recognize there were certain shows that I liked and I disliked. It's funny because there's there's a show that it sounds like something I should like, but I ended up not liking it at all. Have you ever heard of Strike Witches?
Yeah. Hmm.
There's multiple shows that were kind of like it around that time. There's Strike Witches, Vivid Dread Operation, and I think there was AKB 0048 where they tried to kind of do like a cross promotion where like the idols unit was like piloted mechs or something like that. Don't quote me on that. My friend watched it and then told me
Ooh.
about it, and I heard the dub was terrible, so
Oh.
that didn't help either. But I watched the first season of Strike Witches, which it was totally that the it was kind of like that cute girl, like it was basically like airplanes as cute girls, but like they had no pants on, like so they basically had like kind of like tops and then just their underwear, and then they had like these plane parts that they would fly around on and fight aliens and stuff with that. And the problem was, it was clearly something that sold merch, I guess, but
I bet.
it was just none of none of the story really had any depth to it. From what I watched, I was like, okay, so this girl joins, we meet all the other girls, they're fighting aliens, there might be something going on, but like it's all very obtuse. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun for me. Like I actually got bored, but me, I'll push my way through a series even if I get bored. But I had to acknowledge I didn't like it, so I didn't go back to the second season or any of the follow up to it. A lot of people liked it, and that's their cup of tea. Just like in this case, like a lot of the like kind of like cute girls doing cute things genre, which I love. I absolutely love, and especially if they do something quirky and unique. And of course that doesn't always apply for me too. Like I told you about what is it, A channel, channel.
Mm-hmm.
I there's another cute girls doing cute things a series that there were so many series that had done similar things but better, so I couldn't get through it. But that's the thing, is like, you start out wanting to like everything, and then you realize there's only so much time in the world, and there's only so many things you like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I still think you're wrong for comparing it to farming simulators, you jerk, but I understand you also can't play stealth games.
That's due to a personality flaw. I don't think that's a perception flaw. I think it's a
uh
personality flaw. I think. Speaking of games, though,
oh yeah.
I
Sorry, I
think
didn't mean to pick on you too much there, buddy.
no, it's fair. It's fair. If it's not known already, farming, life sims, and stealth games are definitely not my genres.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing for me to get through. I'm not patient. I'm not a. I can't do it on turn-based games. I can, but not on those guys.
I had to ask, okay, so how do you feel about games like Minecraft, The Forest, Don't Starve, like the ones where you gather and craft constantly?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I'll play Minecraft in like very sparing instances. Like I think the last time I did it was like on a Xbox years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just to make the Teen Titans Tower. Like I had a goal in mind, and it was
Oh,
Teen Titans Tower. And once I did it, I was
good
done.
choice.
Didn't
Good
play it
choice.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. It's funny because I like a lot of crafting in my games, but there has to be other elements to it.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't think I could do the in-depth stuff that like Minecraft and Valheim and Don't Start. Like I
No.
get bored. I get frustrated and tired. Whereas like I have games like Atelier, the Atelier series, and it has its crafting and its alchemy and everything. But I like a lot of the like learning the system and kind of like figuring out how to combine stuff to get the right elements on it, or the right like traits on the items. That's interesting to me. And there's a finite amount of things you can do, whereas like I think Minecraft and other games like it, they intimidate me because they are open to do so much for so long. And when you're older and you're an adult and you have things to do, you only have so much time for gaming. So I think that's why I lean much heavier into story-based games, action-based games, things of that nature. When I want to relax, I play a farming sim, but I still have to mix in action, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, Stardew Valley, Rune Factory, it's hard for me to go back to old like Story of Seasons or Harvest Moon.
Yeah. I found that as I've started playing other games or more games, I've kind of just leaned towards more, I guess, turn-based JRPGs.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found that I want more challenge in it to grind in. And I think that grinding is kind of a soothing thing for me to do because I can just go press buttons and just do whatever and just kind of be on autopilot while I grind. I guess
Mm-hmm.
if that's farming of any sort for me. And I like doing that with the purpose of whatever I'm doing in the end because I like over leveling so that I'm comfortable wherever I'm going to be going to, and I like looking for secret and optional bosses and getting whatever I can. So like right now I'm playing Final Fantasy VII, and I know I'm gonna fight that Ruby and Emerald weapon,
Nice.
and so I'm just fighting everything I can and just grinding on my way to different story segments, so
Oh,
I can
nice.
get ready for those guys after I get my materials.
So you're playing Final Fantasy 7, huh?
Oh
Like
yeah,
the original?
yes sir. I think
How you how you liking it so far?
I fucking love it. I know we talked about it a couple episodes back. Like, oh, I would never play that. That's ugly.
Those graphics are shit.
Yeah,
I won't touch it.
I think that's the verbatim quote I said. Um, but I don't know if I've talked about it on here. It may have just been in our group chat, but next year is going to be my year of Final Fantasy, where I'm playing nothing but Final Fantasy games. And so after after beating Fire Emblem Three Houses, I've had this void in my heart where I don't know what to do with myself, and I don't know what big game to fill it with next. So I just went ahead and started Final Fantasy VII to kind of get a start on what I'm playing next year, and I am not disappointed. I'm like 6, 7 hours in, and I'm already past the point where Final Fantasy VII Remake ended,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, wow, man, which is like a good fifth past the game. Oh yeah, which really surprised me because they really fleshed out Final Fantasy VII Remake for no reason. I really don't even see the point of the remake because there's so much you don't need, which I appreciate maybe a different perspective on things, but it almost made me look at, what is the point in more when you can really
Mm-hmm.
just get across the basic story substance and just kind of get going on a game so that you can get out a quality product. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm
No,
elaborating that well.
no, it makes sense. So if I could put it in my own words, I'd say that what you're experiencing is the reason why you like Final Fantasy VII, the original game, better, is because it is better paced. And that's the thing, is like I could agree with that statement. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a spectacle. It is anime episodes, in my opinion, like with a really tight battle system built around it. But let's be honest, a lot of what Final Fantasy VII Remake is about is the visuals,
Yeah.
and like getting that feeling of playing Advent Children, or learning more about the world of Final Fantasy VII if you really wanted to do that. Um, but that's the thing, is like not everybody is into that in-depth stuff. I mean, and of course now you have other elements of it, which I'm not going to spoil anything from the end of the remake, but there's more to it now. And I'm curious to see how, like, because the thing is, you haven't got, like, you're still really early in Final Fantasy VII, and there's a lot of cool elements about the game that you haven't even reached yet. And there's side stories and optional summon materia and optional bosses, and there's an entire storyline you can just straight up skip. Like, it's so, like, a character's backstory can just outright be skipped. As a matter of fact, there's two characters you can just not get.
I've
So
already read about them.
yeah,
I've tried to make sure I can get because I want Vincent. I know Vincent can be missed. I'm not missing Vincent.
you
He's the only
loved
one
you
I'm
loved
playing
Dirge of
for.
Cerberus, didn't
That's
you?
it. I'm an
Yeah.
agent. I'm gonna name him Dirge of Cerberus, and then I'm gonna beat the game.
Yeah, no, it is a great game. See, I think actually that Final Fantasy VII is responsible for introducing elements into the series that became ubiquitous. Mini games and certain visual things that they really wanted to bring to the series. I think it's really the first game in the series that had a lot of mini games in it. The summons weren't just like static images that came on the screen and did something and then disappeared. Like they were summoned out of ether, and they performed actual movements, and there was actual elements whenever, like, a phoenix used fire, and there was a nice one that was actually ice, and it was really well, I mean, at the time it was really well rendered. um
My
the
wife and
pre-rendered.
I, or sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to interject real quick. My wife and I were watching trailers for Final Fantasy VII because I was telling her about me playing Final Fantasy, and she knows I really enjoy Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. And so I was showing her the trailers for it, and it's just horrible. It's just looking back at that, it's like the newest game of the year, and it shows like that CG trailer of Midgar zooming up and Cloud on his bike before you do
Oh
the big
yeah.
chase to escape Midgar, and it was horrible. It was so good.
Yeah.
She was like, "That's what you're playing," and I was like, "I know,
Yeah.
2021's a different standard, but it's
I
fine."
mean, I you know, all like kind of like weird story beats aside, which you'll see what I'm talking about as you go. This Final Fantasy VII is a solid game for a reason. I constantly harass you about Final Fantasy VI, but Final Fantasy VII is still a really good choice. And if you're having a year of Final Fantasy, that means I'll get my wish at some point. But I will say Final Fantasy 7 holds it pretty close. Like it's in the top three for me. Absolutely.
What's the other one? 6, 7,
The other one, uh,
4,
no, not 4.
12?
Yes, it was 12. I loved 12, and I'm going to tell you why. 12 is essentially Final Fantasy 6 with like MMO battle stuff going on. Like I need you to know there's an evil empire. You got spunky folks trying to fight against it. Like I loved the battle system. The characters were fun. The job system was really cool. I loved the little checkerboard thing. Like
Great.
I had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, I like for people that can't see Trey like I can, he damn near rolled his eyeballs all the way off his chair.
There's two things I hear about from Steven the most. It is Final Fantasy 6 and Welcome to Demon School at Rumakun.
It's true. Like people, I think anybody that listens to our show on the regular will be like, enough. Or they'll discover the greatness that is Final Fantasy 6 and Welcome to Demon School at Rumakun.
Yeah, they'll give them.
I'm gonna get some of the boys on it, and then you'll be like singled out like always. So
always.
They always get you every time, man.
Always.
No hesitation. So is that mainly what you're playing right now? Are you mixing in anything else?
Primarily. I'm still getting in Scarlet Nexus every once in a while. I just find I can't sit and play it for too long. Because I'm worried about like I don't know what I'm worried about. It's just I don't play it for too long. But Final Fantasy 7 I can sit there and play just because it's on my Switch. And then on my DS I'm playing Shin Megami Tensei 4 still. I'm about 10, 15 hours in that as well.
Oh, nice. Making some good progress.
I think I'm about a third the way through the game. Whenever I start a game, I look up a chapter list. That way I can gauge where I'm at. So I can know, hey, I can start another game or I cannot. Not yet. I've kind of got my arms full with these 3.
Yeah, they're quite some big ones.
I'm hoping to wrap up at least Scarlet Nexus by the end of the month. And then maybe Final Fantasy 7 a little bit afterwards with how much I'm playing it. Because I'm putting hours in. I started it Thursday, I think. Wednesday or Thursday, and I'm already 10 in. Just I can't stop. I'm just enjoying it too much.
So you're like a weekend and you're just like going hardcore.
I woke up early, stayed up late, just played it.
That's right. You're usually a early, like a go to bed early kind of guy.
Yeah, we were playing Pokemon Unite one night, and my phone died, and everyone thought I ditched them to play Final Fantasy 7.
I didn't see that.
I just went and laid down with the baby, and I just grabbed Final Fantasy 7 on my Switch. That's where I'm playing it at. I just started playing it.
You did abandon them for Final Fantasy 7. That's amazing.
That may be how it looked, but it wasn't that wasn't what it was.
Oh man, I don't blame you. Solid choice. The Pokemon Unite is it's fun in small bursts.
Yeah, so. I think I'm done with it. I don't know. I think I'm over.
I think the entire friend group basically got over it in about 2 nights.
Well, we binged it those 2 nights. We were fighting online. We got our asses beat. Our cheeks clapped so many times. It was horrible. I don't know if it's just the learning curve is. I don't think steep, but I think some people have already mastered that curve in a way that we weren't ready for. So I don't know. It was interesting.
The very competitive genre.
Yeah. But what are you playing, Steven?
What am I playing? I'm playing Persona 5 and I'm playing Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and I am making small but steady progress on them. I may be focusing a little more on trying to get through Persona 5 at the moment because somebody screamed at me in the Discord channel that I should finish at least one of our book club games before the end of the year.
That way you're not working on 3 of the book club games.
Absolutely. But on the other hand, I'm also playing a new 3DS game, and it's probably unexpected, and it's not really one that most people even bothered with. I'm playing Project X Zone 2. And I don't know if you know this series. It's basically a crossover RPG with characters from like Capcom and Namco and all that stuff. So you actually it's got this really wacky story where all these characters cross over into the same universe. Think Super Robot Wars, but not mechs. You got like some Valkyrie Chronicles characters. You got some God Eater characters.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
seen the cover for this. So
Yes.
it's not a fighter though?
No, it's not a fighter. It's an RPG. So
Okay.
way back when there was an RPG like this called, I think it was called Namco X Capcom. I actually own it. It's somewhere in my storage, and it was the same thing. So like there's a story going on, and it's really the most flimsy plot in the world, but it's tactics. But when you go into battle, you do button presses to perform certain actions and combos and switch out characters and things like that. And it's all sprite work, and it's like really well animated and everything, and it's a lot of fun. It's a guilty pleasure for me. I mean, it's definitely like I don't feel like I have to commit to it.
Hmm.
So I play it in little bursts, and it's like I'll do battle, and it's like, oh my god, another person came from another world. What are we gonna do? We gotta find a way back to our home, and but first we gotta deal with these random things that showed up. It's nothing to write home about. It is a fan service game. It is a crossover game, and it
Yeah.
is what it is. You know,
Okay. That sounds
but
neat. It looks cool.
it's fun.
I like seeing mashups like that. It's that's always a nice celebration of franchises.
Yeah, I love that good stuff.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, that sounded a little more sensual than I intended it to.
Yeah. Let me
But
pull my pants
yeah,
back up.
so so I had uh I had intended to talk about anime conventions, but we got into a video game sinkhole.
Yeah, we kind of went on a rant there.
Yeah, no,
I don't even know
your
which
hot
part
take
we
ate up a
ranted
bunch of
on.
time.
Oh, is
Oh
that what
man,
it was?
yeah, the hot take ate up a bunch of time, but we also got into games in general and like Final Fantasy. So I might go ahead and save the anime convention talk for the next episode and instead jump right into my weekly recommendations.
Ooh.
Yes, yeah,
What you got for us this week?
so I got an anime and I got two mangas, and yes, indeed. Um, so I'll talk about the anime first. Like, have you ever heard of an anime called Genshiken?
Uh, Genshiken. No. Go ahead and spell it for me.
It's GEN. I have it written down here. It's GENSHIKEN. So that's actually the shortened form of the actual title, which essentially translates to the Society for the Study of Modern Visual Culture. Um, and it's basically about a college club, and it starts out with this story with this kind of like hapless otaku guy. He's kind of a quiet closet otaku guy. Like he's afraid to be really open with his fandom, and he meets this other guy he's like an attractive guy, and he's completely open with his fandom, and so they end up kind of like bonding a little bit in the first episode. You meet a couple of the other characters, and they join this club, and it's all these weird quirky characters in this club, and they all basically, if I'm being honest, they actually kind of fill the role of like actual anime fans. And I think that was what made it enjoyable. There's some decent comedy in there, but there's also a lot of really cool exploration of otaku culture, and it's actually pretty accurate for the time at least. And the characters were fun, and they basically are human. And I think that's what really appealed to me about the series. It's only like 12 episodes long for the first season. And I honestly say you could watch the first season of the anime and be good to go. The second season was okay. It's just they kind of made some original episodes and didn't just adapt some of the manga. And
Hmm.
so it got kind of weird. But the first season is fantastic, and you meet all the quirky characters and the kind of trouble they get into. And you have like the kind of like the closet otaku guy who's kind of learning to open up a little bit. You have the attractive guy that has no shame and actually has a girlfriend that's a normie. Um, Much to her chagrin, he's really into dojins and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it doesn't shy away from hentai or like the topic of hentai at all. Like there's an episode where they go to Comic-Con and it's actually like, okay, this is us waiting in line. This is what it like. Look how crowded it is. There's cosplayers, stuff like that, and you meet other characters like that one's into cosplay, another one is an artist, but he's kind of got a stutter, and there's all these little kind of idiosyncrasies about these characters that are quite realistic. I think at one point they even get a new member who ends up being that really cringy anime fan.
Hmm.
The one that's really has no shame and is loud in public and it talks about inappropriate stuff at the wrong time,
Right.
and
The
it's
no
really
social grace member.
absolutely, and it's really kind of funny to see the actual characters react to it. And I really like it. It was a good solid show. I mean, it even talks about, like, when college clubs over there, they circles as they call them, they have like welcome parties and they go out and drink at an izakaya or something like that. And they cover like kind of some of the way they would interact in those environments, and it's a good show that has the right amount of character depth, and it's got some good comedy, and I would honestly say the animation is really good. Also, it has some really good voice actors in there that you would recognize. Um, but I'd say just check it out. It's anybody that is interested in kind of watching a good otaku culture show should watch Genshiken. You'll enjoy it.
I just tried looking it up to see if I could find where it's streaming at, and I don't see anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, you may have to get creative with
Yeah,
finding that, or
yeah,
just check out your local anime dealer or your online dealer. Just to give a heads up.
yeah. I don't think it's out of print yet. I think it was available on rightstuffanime.com, but
I think I
I'll
saw
have to
that
double.
pop up. I think I saw it
Yeah,
pop up. The
I'll have to
manga's
check it
for
out.
sure still for sale.
The manga is so good. Like, it's really good. Volumes 1 through 9, the original run, is so good. Like, it's just fantastic for character development. And all the characters are very realistic and fun, and the art's really good. But yeah, enough gushing about one of my favorite series, Genshiken. I'm going to move on to a couple manga suggestions. Everybody knows Tsukasa Hojo for the famous series City Hunter, a personal favorite of mine as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a staple. But they they also make other series, and one of the series they did was a series called Family Compo, or F Compo, and it's basically, its full name is Family Composition, and it's actually a really remarkably fun and refreshing take on uh transgender family dynamics, because this guy, basically, his parents, uh I believe his parents die, and he ends up going to live with his aunt and uncle, but they basically turn out to be dressing like, the aunt dresses as a guy and the uncle dresses as a girl, but that's because they have those features. And his cousin is kind of jumps between male and female, and it's all his dynamics and learning to live with people like this, and learn that they actually are good people. They're caring, like, their family for a reason, and they want good things for him. And while he's uncomfortable to start with, he starts becoming more comfortable with it. I mean, one of the scenes actually has the aunt and uncle show up to, like, one of the, like, family days or something like that, and he asks them to dress as their normal genders, and they actually do. But it kind of denotes the fact that you don't have control over some of this stuff sometimes, because when they, like, the characters dress up as their actual genders, a lot of people think they're transvestites that are cross-dressing, like, their just general features look the opposite of what they actually are. And so, like, the character starts to learn about it. I think he even ends up joining a theater club, and he has to dress up as a girl, and kind of becomes a little more familiar with what kind of things they're going through. And it's really, like, I think it ran for 4 years, and it's got a decent amount of, like, Hojo's comedy, but it's also got the really great art, and poignant, like, story beats. It's worth looking up. I think yeah, it's only like, it ran for 4 years. I think it's only got like 190 chapters or something like that. Don't quote me, but it's a good read. You can usually find it, and give it a read. And I suggest it highly, especially if you're interested in that kind of topic. It's actually pretty educational and refreshing, and there's definitely some tone deaf moments here and there, but it's also pretty old at this point. But also, not just that series. Hojo also wrote a sequel series to City Hunter, and without spoiling some details that are important to City Hunter and Angel Heart, he ends up Ryo Saiba ends up with a daughter, essentially, who used to be an assassin, and he's now brought her out of the darkness into the light. And it's a show. It's basically City Hunter, but now the main character is the girl, and, like, all the City Hunter characters as, like, side characters. And it kind of goes in that same formula. There's action packed adventures and mystery solving, but it's set in a little bit later time period. and with a younger protagonist, and one that like had no problem killing at one point, kind of like Rio, but they never really touched on it too much in the original series. Is she, they really touch on how much she killed at the beginning of the series, but it ends up going from like a very serious start to City Hunter-esque fun. And if you already are a huge City Hunter fan and would like to see more of that, Angel Heart's the way to go. I can't recommend it enough. I still go back and read it because I still go back and read City Hunter and Angel Heart, and I believe there was even an anime for it. So I definitely recommend checking those out. Tsukasa Hojo honestly is a great creator with a lot of series like Cat's Eye, and is another good one. And there's another series that is escaping me at the moment, but Tsukasa Hojo, get to it. You'll love it.
Man, okay, that's quite a lineup. A little
Mm-hmm.
something for everybody. But all right, man. I think that kind of wraps up everything we could talk about. We kind of went all around the horn on
Oh yeah, absolutely. We
on
could have gone
everything.
another hour.
Golly, yeah. We'll save that for another day, another hour. All right, man, Steven. You got any other questions, comments, concerns
you know,
for me, I guess, for the
no,
podcast?
I'd say, for those of you who are listening to us, try to hit us up on our Twitter and give us some feedback. I mean, we're pretty hardy guys. We can take it. Just, I welcome constructive criticism, and I'm learning as we go along. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll be back next week.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know where else you can listen, you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and Google Podcast. You can check us out on our Twitter, where we try to post almost daily. You can check us out on Waifu Wednesdays. We try to pick us a waifu of the week and post about her. You can check us out, or the Twitter itself is at Senko Podcast. That's SENKOU Podcast. And with that, that wraps us up, Steven. I'll see you next week, man.
See you next week, my friend. Bye.
Bye.